I am going to give a little background information so you can understand how I got into this situation. I am in my late 20s, and last month I had one of the most scariest experiences I have ever had. My family attracts spirits as in the 18th century. Some of my family dabbled in some spirit stuff. They got blamed as witches and they got burned at the stake. That is the story of another day. Anyway, I was on four-wheel drive adventure with my dad, mom and my dog. We have a buffed up Pajero. Not the best four-wheel drive, but it still make it across desert tracks. It was on 12th December, I believe. We were crossing a track in Northern Territory, Australia. We had just finished crossing a rocky portion of the track and was now on flat dirt road. We started to set up a camp for the night. As I stepped out of the car, I went around the back to the water containers to fetch some water for my dog, but as I walked near them, I heard a trickling and gushing noise. Sure enough, a rock had punctured both external water containers. I quickly went to tell Dad we had barely enough internal water to last us a day, so we made the decision to drive at night. You should only really drive at night if you most definitely have to, otherwise you should generally avoid it. We knew there was a small community just outside, around 45 minutes away. It was already 7:15 and pitch black. We got in the car and started to drive. This road was particularly dangerous and it was long and straight. People often fell asleep and drove off the road going 100 km/h. We were about halfway there. I was sitting in the back with my standard on my lap. He was drifting asleep until his ears pricked up. He then jumped up. It looked like he was trying to look behind us. I turned around and saw nothing but a black empty desert. I turned back to the front to see my mom drifting to sleep and my dad wide awake. Then all of a sudden my dog started to rear loudly. A really bright light was reflecting in the side mirrors and rear view mirror. My dad said, "What is that? A car behind us. Look behind us." There was two extremely bright lights tailgating our car. At this point my dog was barking. My mom had woken up immediately, started to panic. The light continued to tailgate us for the next 2 minutes. We then passed a tree and all of a sudden the lights had stopped. The car was no longer behind us, it was disappeared. My dad stopped the car. He turned it around, thinking the car may have crashed. We got near the tree. I got up to the roof, turned on the giant spotlight we had fitted for this trip and shone it all around us, searching for the car. There was no sight of it, just empty red dirt. We searched for another 15 minutes, even on foot. Nothing, so we continued on with the drive, hoping to find some help in the coming community. Once we reached the small settlement just outside of that point, we raced into the pub. The pub was empty except for the dealer. He immediately asked us, "What's wrong? Something up?" My dad replied with, "We were just driving along the track. We saw a car disappeared off the road. Someone could be hurt." That person put down his rag and said, "You guys saw the northern Nissan. No one hurt. At least now, I replied in somewhat impatient tone. What do you mean? Someone could be hurt. He then pointed to a news article up to the wood wall. It read Nissan crashes into tree, killing all two on board. What you saw was the ghost of Northern Nissan. It crashed about a bit more than a decade ago. It was two brothers quickly making their way into the town as one of the brothers was sick. The crash into the tree at about 7:30 p.m. Many people who make that road at night see them at around the point the guy saw them. My mom's mouth has dropped. My dad sat down. We stayed in that small settlement for the night. In the morning we decided to go look at the tree. What we saw was a scar from a crash, and exactly where we saw the car disappear the night before. It was creepy to think. I got out on foot, searching for a ghost car. Seconds after it had disappeared, my family had seen the Northern Nissan.